Hello, kindergartners, and welcome to the second quarter of art class. This week, we are going to be doing a fun and spooky fall project. We are going to be creating square pumpkins based off of the book and movie Spookly the Square Pumpkin.
The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookly was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookly the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He sat just tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left and slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight! Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be square that night. Suddenly the fence gave away. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried. And finally he was on his side. He flipped on his side. Again he tipped, again he flapped, again he flipped, and then he stopped, right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookly the square pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack, with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookly, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there, the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookly's were the most special that he had ever grown. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning, about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square, but some were cubes and some rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. Now every year on Halloween, Spookly's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookly grew. Maybe someday, if you tell someone too, they'll go and tell someone who will tell another. And maybe one day we will all discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. The end.
I hope you guys had a fun time learning about Spookly. Spookly's a square and not a circle. Because he's a square, it makes our life a little bit easier. We're going to be needing one piece of paper. If you have orange construction paper, that would be perfect. You'll be needing another piece of paper to cut some things out of. If you had black construction paper, that would be awesome as well. And if you had brown construction paper, that would also work for our project today. Go ahead, get those supplies, come on back, and let's make some pumpkins!
Before we get started today, I want to talk a little bit about grades for this quarter. Each week, I will be posting a lesson on the Google Classroom stream, and you will have to complete that assignment. There will be a video and a Google form each week. To get credit for that week's art project, you have to complete the Google form. It is definitely required to do the Google form in order to get graded. If you have any questions about art class or how to complete the Google form, please feel free to reach out to me via your school email or messenger on the Google Classroom. Instead of having the assignments be actual assignments on the Google Classroom, I'm leaving them as posts so that it is simpler to find. Every Google form will be right under the link for the video. Make sure you guys complete those Google forms to get credit for art class.
What you know about grades? You earn them, they ain't free. If you do all your asynchronous work, oh yeah, you'll earn the grade you please. Make sure you turn it in. Hey, make sure you turn it in, yeah.
Okay, now you can see for our project today, I have this orange piece of paper that I'm going to start with. So I'm going to take my other papers that I have and I'm going to put them off to the side so that I'm just working with my orange piece of paper. The first thing you're going to need is to put your glue stick and your pencil and your scissors to the side so you're ready to have them. We are going to be using our scissors first. So the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to need to make this into a square. Right now you can see it is a rectangle, so we need to make it a square. What you're going to do is you're going to find the shortest side of your paper. So is this the shortest side? No, this is my short side. With this short side, you are going to create a square. I'm going to show you how to do that now. You are going to do that by taking the short side. I have it up here at the top. I am going to put my finger in this corner and pick up this side. Now you are going to need to fold your paper so that it lines up along this edge. So you need to make this line come and touch this side. So this side to this side. So I'm even going to draw an arrow just to kind of help us. So this side is going to that side. So I'm going to now put my finger on that corner and I'm going to carefully fold. I'm going to take my time and make sure that the corner is nice and even and that those sides line up. All right, now that I have it lined up, I'm going to push with my hand as I'm holding from the corner to the bottom to create a crease. Now I have a fold. I'm going to turn my paper so that I have these sections. So as you can see, I have a big triangle when my paper is folded and I have a rectangle. You need to draw a line between the two. So where that triangle ends, you're going to draw a line. Make sure that's nice and thick so you guys can see it. See how I have that line on there? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along that line with my scissors. When I'm using my scissors, I'm very, very careful and I go slow to make sure that I get a nice clean line with no jagged edges. I'm done with this little rectangle, so I'm going to throw it away. And then you can see my arrow on this side, so I'm going to flip this over. And look, I have a perfect square. And you didn't need to measure, all you needed to do was fold your paper. So when you fold that paper and you cut, you get a perfect square. So here is my perfect square. I'm now going to put my square to the side and pick up my next thing that I need to do. I'm going to grab my black piece of paper now. On my black piece of paper, I need to be drawing some things to go on my pumpkin. We're going to call these features. Some features could include eyes, nose, mouth, any accessories. That is what I'm going to be doing on here. Now I'm going to draw some triangles for my pumpkin's eyes. So I'm just drawing them however I like on my paper. So I have 2 triangles for my eyes. I want to have a happy square pumpkin, so I'm going to draw a smiley face with some teeth. So I'm going to start by drawing this shape. But I'm going to draw some rectangles on it so I get some teeth too. And some triangles, maybe for some pointy teeth. Now what I need to do is I need to cut these things out. When I'm cutting out the mouth, I am first going to cut out the whole thing as just a regular smile without those added teeth. And remember, I'm turning the paper when I cut. I'm going very slow, just like this. So now I have my mouth, but see how you can see those teeth on there? I want my teeth to actually show up, so I am going to cut them out. So I'm going to be very careful, still turn my paper, and cut. There's 2. There's another. Make sure you guys really take your time on this project. We want to have those nice, clean cut lines. Awesome, so now I have my mouth. On this side, you can see some pencil lines, so I'm actually going to be gluing it the other way. I'm just going to place it on my pumpkin and put that back to the side. The next thing I need to cut out are my triangles for my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that the same way I cut out the mouth, just by taking my time and cutting. I think I'm going to add a nose on my pumpkin as well. So I'm going to draw one more shape. I'm going to draw a little square. I'm going to cut that out. Awesome, so now I have my nose. I'm going to put that there too. Now I have all of these shapes cut out for my pumpkin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them on. So you will need your glue stick now for this step. Now, a very important thing that we do in art class is we never glue on our background. This orange piece of paper is what we would call the background. We always glue on whatever object we are placing onto our background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mouth, I'm going to flip it over to the side that has all those little pencil marks, and I'm going to put my glue on that side. I'm going to take my time and work really hard not to get glue all over my orange piece, because that's what I'm using as my countertop for gluing. And I'm going to make sure that it is covered in glue. Then I'm going to flip my mouth over and I'm going to place it on my paper where I want it to go. I'm going to push it down to make sure that it is nice and flat and that it is stuck on there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down my nose. So I'm going to do that same thing again. I'm going to flip over my nose to the side that has the pencil lines. I'm going to put some glue on there, being very careful not to get it all over the place. And then I'm going to place my nose, push down, give it a little tap, make sure it's on there, and there, my nose is now set. Now I need to go to my eye. So I'm doing the same thing again. I'm flipping my eye over. And I'm putting some glue on the back. And then I'm going to flip it back over and place it where I want it to go. Now I have one more, so I'm going to flip that over. And now I'm going to flip it over again once I've glued and place. Now my pumpkin is on that page. It is not going anywhere. There we go. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add a stem to the top of my pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown construction paper or my regular brown paper. If you don't have construction paper and you drew a piece of paper brown, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to draw a stem. For a stem, I'm going to start with a curved line. And I'm going to kind of make it into a curved rectangle, just like that. There's my line. It's kind of hard to see. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it out. You will not be needing very much brown paper. This is all we will need. So you don't need to make a ton of brown paper if you don't have construction paper. So there I have my little stem for my pumpkin. I'm going to put that to the side and I'm done with my brown paper. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a leaf for my pumpkin. So this time I'm using green paper and I'm going to draw a leaf on here. I'm going to start by drawing a curved line just like that. And then I'm going to do another curved line on the other side, attaching those 2 points. Just like this. Then you're going to want to cut this out as well. I am turning that paper to make sure I keep that line nice and crisp. And I'm doing it again on the other side. Now I have my leaf. So I am done with my extra paper and my scissors. So I'm going to put those away and I'm going to move back to my pumpkin. Now what you need to do is you need to glue this stem and this leaf onto your pumpkin. Now, if I put my stem on the top, I don't like how it goes into the pumpkin. See how it's going down? I wish it could just sit right on top, just like that. Well, there's a way that we can trick the person who's looking at our art into thinking that's how it is. I'm gonna show you that trick. So what you're gonna do is you're going to take your pumpkin and you're going to flip it over. Now you're going to take your stem and you're just going to put a little bit of glue at the bottom. So I'm just going to add a little line of glue like that. See how I didn't go up very far? You're going to take that line of glue and you're going to put it on your pumpkin. Now see how it's going into the back just a little bit? That is what we want. Now when I flip my pumpkin over, my stem looks perfect. You can't tell that it is going behind. There's glue not showing, which is perfect. It looks great. Next up, I need to add this leaf. So I want to do the same thing with the leaf to give it that effect. I might even do the leaf before. So I'm actually going to just tuck it in there. So see, the leaf is on the back as well. And now, since there was already glue on there, the leaf is nice and glued down. And now my pumpkin is finished. So look at this, I made a square pumpkin today. I did not make a circle pumpkin like a usual pumpkin. I made a square pumpkin like Spookly the square pumpkin. I hope you guys had a fun time in art class today making your square pumpkins with your scissors and glue and paper. I can't wait to see how these turned out. I hope you had a wonderful time. Hey kindergartners, I hope you had a wonderful time making your square pumpkins today. I think mine turned out awesome. I love it. Make sure you go on and you fill out that Google form for this week's project. Remember, if you don't fill out the Google form, you don't get graded. That is how I pick out your grades. That Google form is the most important part of art class. Make sure you guys fill that out for this week, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Bye everyone, happy fall!